Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, this is your space to connect, learn, and grow alongside a community of trailblazing women who, just like you, they are making their mark in the world of business. From personal branding to powerhouse marketing, from leadership to lifestyle tips, we've got you covered. So get ready to ignite your passion, fuel your purpose, and unlock your potential with Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. Let's make this journey together and turn your entrepreneurial dreams into reality. Welcome to the Real Female Entrepreneurs. You know what? Our guest today is a true powerhouse. She is a woman who has shown that no obstacle will ever stop her, stand in her way, or anything. And she has shown that with determination and a dream, you can do anything. You know what? She was born with a physical disability that in her mind was never going to hold her back. She has rewrote her own story with the support of friends and her fierce determination to make it all happen. So let's give a warm welcome to the unstoppable Davida Shensky. Did I say that right, Davida?
It's Davida Shensky. Ski.
So Davida Shensky. Yay, I did it right now.
Thanks for having me on, and I'm looking forward to the show.
Oh my God, you're going to be fabulous. So to begin with, what inspired you to become the amazing entrepreneur you are today?
Well, for one thing, when I entered the workforce, and let me explain that what I have is cerebral palsy. It's a neuromuscular disability. It affects how the brain processes information. It affects mobility. And in my case, it's the right side, and it's specifically called spastic hemiplegia for that reason. And for me, it was growing up in a home that was very negative, a mother that constantly told me, you can't. And then entering the workforce at a time when there were very little opportunities for people with disabilities because you did not have the American. In fact, I entered the workforce before the Individual Disability Education Act became law.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. That's got to be amazing. So, how did you overcome all that and actually even get a position or a job at that
Well,
point?
I actually worked with the state, and when I lost my job with the state, then I had no options. But I did have the skills. But I certain respects, like I wanted to go into group counseling initially, but couldn't do it even though I had the training and the certification. I didn't have that master's degree and I didn't have that PhD, but I knew I had something to say. And it was just a slow, and so it was just a natural progression to get into professional speaking and training and development. And was an independent consultant where I went into companies and did train the trainer sessions. And that was kind of like the HR industry.
That is awesome. So, back then, that was before the internet, that was before everything else. You became a speaker, correct?
Yes.
And you went into businesses. You promoted yourself to businesses and they hired you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
how? So, what obstacles did you have to overcome with your
Well,
disability?
actually, getting around, because if you know, and you had to have, I didn't have the money to put into getting the media kit together, and I didn't. So what I did was I got involved with temp agencies where I went in and worked conventions. So that was how I got my foot in the door and interact with the companies and get my foot in the door with the companies. And back then, corporations did a lot of train the trainer sessions. And that was the late 80s, early 90s. Actually, the 80s and early, through the 80s and the 90s. Then in the 90s, things changed. Corporations basically cut back on their train the trainer sessions. It was the beginning of the internet. And now what I started doing was create my own e-learning courses where I do a lot of on entrepreneurship, like building virtual teams, writing, and the importance of what is a journey for someone who's an entrepreneur. Then I also do a lot on personal development and mindset and having the right mindset. Because if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the self confidence, if you don't understand who you are, then what happens? You're not going to succeed. And if you have all those, and the thing is, if you're going to go contract with a corporation, they're going to want to know what kind of training are you getting on your own. And what I did was initially put my courses on, I don't know how they say it, Udemy, however. And through there, I got companies who had e-learning platforms come to me and ask me to put my courses on their platforms to sell. So I'm on Learn Formula, which is out of Canada. I'm on One Education that's in the UK, and Skill Success that's actually in California.
Wow.
And then a few others, but those are three big ones that I get paid from consistently.
Wow, that is awesome. So let's take a step back from what you said in the very beginning, if you don't mind. You said that it's all a mindset. All right. And so, with it being all a mindset, to begin anything, it's a mindset. You have to be able to know you can do it. Am I right?
Yes. Well, you have to believe in yourself. And remember that you have people around you that can't do what you can do. So they're going to be very negative and they're going to tell you you can't do it and you can't do it. So what happens is eventually you internalize all of that and you tell yourself you can't. And if you remember back, the self help industry started in the 1960s with transactional analysis, with psychodrama, with all the books that came out. And that, if you notice, if you remember back in the '60s, that was like the music even influenced what was going on in society too at the time. So there's just so many things that if you look at it, you know, how do you deal with it?
I get
And
it.
I hate to say it, but what just happened in this election is going to be real interesting.
So let's go back to the mindset again because I'm still on that mindset. So if
And,
you
and the mindset and what it is, you know, to me, if you respect yourself and you love yourself and you understand what your natural behavioral patterns are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, how to find people who have strengths in areas where you're weak, then that you work together as a team. And I'm going to go back and talk about the disc because you can use the Myers Briggs where you talk about judging and non judgmental and introvert and extrovert. But it's that's something that you have to have been certified as a psychometrist to use, whereas the disc is something that almost anyone can use and take and understand.
I
And
teach
you've got,
disc, I believe in disc. I teach disc. I'm a disc freak.
yeah, that's it. So you understand what I'm talking about when I say disc, because you got that person that's the introvert, and they don't like to be up front, and it's hard for them to bring out and move into that. So they've got to have that person who loves to sit and talk, who loves to interact with people. So that's what helps them. And you can notice that when they're being interviewed, there's certain behavior patterns, their body language. It just shows that they're not comfortable in that position.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely. I agree with that. So with going back, I love the disc, but getting back to the mindset, what about somebody who's starting out a brand new business? Okay.
I
And
would tell them take some courses, learn learn where you're at now, learn where, figure out where you want to be, and then figure out what you have to do to get there.
awesome. That is so true. Just figure it out and surround yourself with the people. You already said this 3 times, I believe. Surround yourself with those people that are better at doing something than you are.
Well, another thing is if you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people.
Who's your top 5 friends, right?
Yeah. Well, what do they say? Everyone has 250 friends, and whoever you connect to has 200. So 6 degrees of separation, and who you know and who you don't know.
I love it.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. So you have been a female entrepreneur for what? Are we 40 years or longer?
Over 40. I started in 1983.
So 40 years, you have literally been a female entrepreneur building your world. The question
Mm-hmm.
now becomes is what advice would you give to another female entrepreneur who they're possibly struggling? I mean, come on, this isn't the easiest world in the world that we build businesses in as females, correct? Solo entrepreneurs.
Well, yeah, and you've got to be consistent, and you've got to know that if you're going to fail, look at that as a stepping stone.
Yes.
Don't, because what happens is you have people that they have a goal, then they come to a roadblock. Instead of figuring it out, what do? They automatically put the brakes on. So you don't want to put the brakes on. You want to recognize that failure as a learning tool and then figure out what you can do to get beyond that. Because we all have comfort zones that we're used to. And how do we take it and get beyond that comfort zone and be willing to put ourselves out there?
Wow. I love that. That is so true because we doubt ourselves sometimes. We come across struggles, and that thing is, does the brake go, or do we just go? We do the yield, and we just go on the road. Which one are you doing? Correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it has to be that you don't want to stop and allow someone else to see. I told you so. You don't want, because there are people that they don't have the skills to be an entrepreneur, and they don't feel comfortable in that position, and then they resent someone else who's trying. So understand where they're coming from. And remember, not everyone can start their own company. Not anyone can take a business and go from 0 to 10 to, and get beyond it. You have to make that decision. Do you choose it? And, and for many, in certain industries, you have to be multi-talented to succeed.
Yes, 100%. So I totally get that as well. And you know what, Davida? So I graduated high school in 82. So I was like you. I actually became an entrepreneur at 83 as well, had full-time jobs and just kept trying to, maneuver through. So I
Yeah.
totally understand it. So
And back then, you didn't have the internet where you could put your website up and give people all your information. You had to have that kit that you sent out, and far more than the resume. And when corporations started cutting back on training, you had to be willing to go out and do it on your own. Because remember, they used to do off-site training where they would, where the The training companies would come in and they would send them to the training companies to get this training and the soft skills.
Mhm.
Then what they started to do was, instead of sending them off site, they started bringing it on site, and then they started giving them chunks of stuff to do on the computer at their desk.
Wow. And then, and just like you're talking about, pivoting is the key. So I always tell everybody, are you the pivoting queen? Because you have to be the pivoting queen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
Hmm.
have to be consistent on what you're doing and know that when there's a detour in the industry, you have to be willing to pivot.
Well, and you have to realize that technology also influences your business. And it was so funny because being in the background that I had, I before things started, I was aware of how what was going on and how it was crossing all genres. You know, you look at what is it, the music industry, and how that changed, and and now how Spotify and Apple and all of that influences how you get your videos, your music. It's like this. Are you streaming into YouTube now? Are you streaming into LinkedIn? Are you streaming into? Because while you're going live, you can be live on other platforms.
Mhm. 100%. We have the multi usages these days, whereas before we were single usage. Am I right? So, like
Yeah,
I said, you could go Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, on and on at one time.
yeah,
So, yeah, using the tools that we have in hand is key as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And under and the funny thing is social media. What it's like. I've gotten kicked off of X for
You,
doing something. I have
you
no
did
idea why. Because
you did something bad. You got kicked off the Vita.
yeah, they blocked me. I can only go on it, and all I ever do is post motivational things. And
Mhm.
they're like, "You did something wrong." I'm like, "What did I do?" The funny thing is I never had a problem with Twitter, but once Musk bought Twitter and it's now X, all of a sudden I have a problem.
You're funny. All right, let's do this. Let's go back. What would you give, knowing what you've learned so far? What tip would you give your 18-year-old self about being a female entrepreneur?
I guess just keep going. Just recognize that by keeping putting my one foot in front of the other, eventually you're going to get there. You have to do trial and error.
I love that. That is so cute. I love that. You have to go one step to one step. All right.
You know, there was a saying that I had: success is my only option. And why is that? Because I always knew that once I moved out of my mother's home and got my own place, going back was never an option, because then she would throw in my face how I failed. So it was important to me to be able to be successful and understand how one roadblock may be there, but keep pushing because you will get where you want to go.
Oh, I love that quote. Success is my only option. Do you know who that quote's by?
That's my quote.
That's your quote, so we can quote you in a magazine. Is that's exciting? I love that.
Yeah, that is actually my quote. That was something that I realized I had to do many years ago.
I love that. Okay.
And when I had actually, when my website was sitting on WordPress, that's what I put. That was my slogan on on there. But since then, I'm now using Go High Level because I'm able to interact and use all their tools, and they got a really great e-learning platform that I can put the lessons on, and then I can create the videos and actually have the videos right there
Yep.
and not have to link them from YouTube.
I love that. All right. What is one key strategy that has helped you scale your business? We know social media, and you love high level. Is there anything else?
Well, let's see. I think my persistence to keep going, because I guess I'm going to do this. I don't have use of that hand. And like,
Yeah.
that's about the extent of the use. So I had to learn to tie my shoes with one hand. I had to learn to do a lot of things with one hand, because
Wow.
that was, so it was just a matter of, did I want to be independent, or did I want to allow myself to have to be dependent on other people? So understanding where my strengths lie. And part of that's because I have very good interpersonal skills. It's easy for me to talk to strangers. It's easy for me to get places. Easy for me because I have that personality type.
Yeah.
So understanding that. And then the other thing is, if you don't have that outgoing personality, get with someone who does, or that, because learn to move from one strength to another strength. Learn how to pull it up. Because what happens is, usually when we're very young, we stay within that comfort zone of where we're at within our personality. And as we get older, then we begin to move out. But if you, when you're young, learn to pull out, to change how you, and get more comfortable being in positions that are not comfortable for you.
I love that. That is so true. That is such a true statement, because you have to learn how to like get uncomfortable and move forward from the uncomfortable. It's all that pivoting stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, well, it's like they say, you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and get into another place to move forward. If you don't do that, then you're not going to.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Can you share any future plans you have for your business that we should keep our eyes open for?
Probably my show, and it's Live Without Limits, Unlock Your Power. It's Mind Shift. I can't remember the whole title.
So
I should open up my page and look at it and tell you, but I'm not going to.
why you can. You're good. You can tell us. We're
Okay,
excited.
well, it'll be a minute, and I'll tell you what I can
So while
get
you're
into it and tell you what exact. God.
that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and ask you a few more questions. Can you multitask? I bet you can.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's the video.
If you had one superpower for 24 hours, what would it be?
Um,
One superpower.
you know, say that again.
Just one superpower.
Oh, this is okay. This is the name of it. Unlock your potential, ultimate blueprint to transform and shift your mindset.
Okay. And where can we find that at?
It's actually on StreamYard.
Okay. But is it
And
on a YouTube channel with it or?
yes, it's on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And the YouTube, yeah. And what is it? On the coaching consultation is where it's linked to.
It's linked to
Is
there.
my And the one power I think I would have, or that I would do if I could within 24 hours, is that, I mean, I think for me, because I grew up in a very negative home, in a very abusive home, I had to put like blinders up to protect myself, because my comfort zone was being with someone who would have been abusive. And you got to remember, those times back 40 years ago, you didn't see and have the things that went like you do today to help someone. And probably if I could go back for 24 hours, it's to find someone that would truly be there and be very loving. And, because I've never had that.
Oh, So sweet, though. That would be so sweet to have that. And I mean, you have
Yeah.
such a beautiful smile, and you're all just so glowy. You're a true overcomer. I mean, totally. I mean, true overcomer.
Well, it was a matter of that I always was independent, and from the time I was a small child, and I think that was part of where the abuse came from, because they totally wanted me dependent on them, and I couldn't be.
Mhm.
I was always trying to do things with, overcoming the limitations and always trying to do something and proving that I could do it.
I love that. Okay, we're gonna go on a fun world. You ready? One
Yes.
fun fact about you that nobody really knows about. It's
Well,
something. You got that laugh.
that,
Go for it.
I like to read romance novels, because it's nice to think of that perfect relationship where and that when you're dealing with personalities, you're going to have arguments, you're going to have whatever. But the fact of the matter is, what makes the relationship last is that you truly care about each other, and you're willing to accept the other person for who they are. So that's one fun fact.
I love that. That's cute. I love it. All right. Do you have a favorite book besides one that you're in?
No, I don't know. I just read so many different things. I can't say I have one favorite thing.
So is it self-help books or what is it that you really go to?
Um, I guess, yeah, some self-help books. I just couldn't even remember the titles
You
of
know
them.
you do romance. We already know that.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you told us that secret.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite song that gets you motivated?
Uh, uh, I
Song.
exercise.
You exercise. Okay. Do you have
I
a
go
song?
to the gym 3 times a week, and I've been doing it for 40 years. That's why my mobility is as good as it is for
Mhm.
being 73.
I love it. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be 73 tomorrow.
Happy Everybody, make sure you put happy birthday in the links below, and make sure Davida knows it's fun. All right.
This is, I was like, we have premature gray hair in the family, but this is not premature gray.
I love it. I love it. So do you have a favorite?
And it's very, very curly. It's not very long, but boy, does it curl up.
I love the curls. I think they're cute. Okay. Do you have a favorite song?
It's my life.
It's my life. Okay, I love that. That's a good song. All right. You already gave us one quote. Do you have another quote that you want to tell us about?
Um, uh, let's see. I can go. Oh, it's this is by Carl Jung. It's not what happened to me, but it's what I choose to become.
Yep. It's not what happened to me, it's what I choose to become. Love that one. Love that. All right. Is there anything else that, like, is there a way for our audience to connect with you on a regular basis?
Yes, they can connect with me on Facebook, on LinkedIn.
And what are they looking up? Are they looking up your name or they're looking up your business?
You can connect with me on my name on Facebook. And it's so funny. All of a sudden, it was like, I remember when we had the 50th reunion for the high school. Uh, I hadn't kept in touch with anyone. And all of a sudden on Facebook, they connected with me, and it's like, are you coming? And I'm like, these people weren't my friends years ago, because I was the odd person out, being the only one in the school with a disability. Those times no one knew what disabilities were, and it was, ooh, don't get near her, you'll get what she has. So, and then all of a sudden it's like, you want me after 50 years to come and pay to go to a reunion when these people, when we were not close, we had kept in touch all these years. I'm like, why would I want to go? Yeah, you know, keep in touch with me throughout the years. And yeah, maybe I'd be glad to see you, but I'm not going to come just because it's a 50-year reunion. And now it's been 55 years.
So yeah, so those people we're not going to connect big, but those female entrepreneurs you want to connect with, I'm sure,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They connect.
It is on LinkedIn. It's so funny. On LinkedIn, I have a lot of people inviting me to connect, and the first thing they're ready to do is sell me on their services, and usually lead generation. Well, if I've been in business for over 40 years, I don't think I need anyone to do lead generation for me.
I understand. I understand
You
totally.
know, and it's more of get to know me, get to know my business, get to know what I'm doing before, because at 73, I'm not growing a business anymore. My business is how do I build that residual income, keep that residual income coming in, and live comfortably. It's not growing a business. It's not going out and So understand that you got to look at where someone is in their career at that moment, and you can. It's like most of the people I know, they're all retired, but I'm still working, and it still keeps my brain sharp because I am an entrepreneur. And most people, when they retire, if you sit still and you do nothing, you're going to vegetate, you're going to die faster. But if you keep your mind working, if you do something, and I go to the gym 3 days a week, and exercise is important to me because it was my mobility. I had surgery when I was 14, and then I had to use a walk-on brace because I don't normally go heel toe. And and so exercise became a routine for me to keep the mobility, to keep from falling. And then I noticed once I reached a certain age that I was not catching my balance. So I had to put it all back on. That's why I've got the brace on my hand. Because if I don't, the wrist will contract and tighten up. And I had surgery many years ago to release the tendon. But by keeping the brace on it to keep the wrist held up, and then I get mobility and using it and being able to turn it around. And so that's partly because I've been exercising for a good 40 years now. That I started in the 80s when the health club started opening up. And that's another thing. You got to interact with people wherever you are.
Yeah. And I mean, exercising is a mindset as well, because it actually helps rejuvenate your brain,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
rejuvenate your whole body, head to toe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
It's like genetics, your body's going to look a certain way through genetics. And people look at me and say, oh, I don't look as old as I do. Well, that's because I've been taking care of myself. I've exercised. I can't say I eat all the right foods, but I generally watch my diet. And in doing so, I'm able to keep that, and then you do the other things that you have to do to take care of yourself.
Yeah. I get it. That's the key. So I know you like doing a lot of mindset coaching with people, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Mindset, life coaching, careers,
Yeah.
because today, it's so funny, but if you remember what was a God, what do I want? That a graphic designer. They became web designers. Today with the software, you don't need a web designer, but they can go into the software development and in the building up of the platform. So understanding how the same basic skills that you had, just transform them as technology takes over, because whereas before, early on, it was all about the coding to be able to do the websites. Now they have the templates that you can use.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the female entrepreneur audience that we haven't discussed already?
I think the last thing is that I want to say is keep going. Don't let someone else stop you from doing what your dreams are, and find someone who supports you in your dreams, that they are right there with you, encouraging you to move forward.
Yeah. Davida, you are just so precious. We want to thank you for being with us at the Real Female Entrepreneurs. And we're excited to meet you. And you're just going to inspire so many people in the magazine. I cannot wait to see you in there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.